Can you tell us something about the Sephardic communities in Israel? Approximately how large is it? Are different terms used in Israel, such as Mizrahi? Can you tell us how terms like Sephardi and Mizrahi are defined in Israel?
Yeah, it's very interesting. One, I have to say, Israel has about 9 million people. About 6.5 million of them are Jews, closer to 7, and 75% of those have been born in Israel. But you are right to mention this in a way. Ashkenazi is everybody from Europe, US, USSR back then, Russia today. And Mizrahi used to talk about the people from Northern Africa, mostly, El Mashraq and the East and the West. And these are, Israel is still very sectorial. It's still very sectorial. We see it, and this ties us a little into the politics. We see it also in our politics. We have so many different political parties, and they're very separated by these definitions that you're using. And I think the clearer, we can see it with the Yahadut Torah, which is the Orthodox or ultra-Orthodox Ashkenazi party, and their parallel is Shas, which is the Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox Sephardi, or, more North Africa, people who came from North Africa, or their parents, or even these days it's their grandparents who came from North Africa. And they're more or less, just by the way, they get the same number of votes and the same people. So, and the same number of votes and the same number of seats in parliament. So you see that it's pretty evenly divided. Israel has been trying to work for years on the issue of this separation and about the definition of Israelis or Israeli Jews in these two fields. But even to this day, we can't say that it's totally gone. There are always some biases. We have to be very aware, very vigilant. We have to keep working on making sure that these definitions in a way don't define us. Because as time passes, it is true. As I said, most Israeli Jews have been born in Israel. So you see, we're still a sectorial society. We have, and you see the differences. But I think, and we are working at trying to make it less of an issue in our society than it used to be. And I hope I answered you.
Yes.
Can I say something about my master's thesis?
Of course.
My master's thesis, I dealt with the aliyah of Jews coming to Israel from Morocco between 1948, which was Israel's independence, to 1956, in which Morocco got its independence. So in those years, who came to Israel, who did not come to Israel, and it's a very interesting. Of course, I wrote it. Of course, it's very interesting, but it shows. And I think when you look, when the state was just born, and there were a lot more. Most of the people who were in Israel, most of the Jews, of about 650,000 Jews who were in Israel at the time, were mostly from Europe. So you see the changing dialogue, and when you compare, 1948 to 2020. Or throughout the years, you see the changes in dialogue. You see the understanding that these distinctions and these definitions should not be used and are not correct and are different. But it was just very interesting to see the two societies come together, and the difference is not, of course, the language difference. And Israel in the beginning forced everybody, whether you were a Holocaust survivor from Poland or somebody coming in from Morocco, Israel forced everybody to speak Hebrew, for example. And it's one of the wounds that you see on both sides, but it was an attempt to try to get everybody on the same level very quickly. Now, in hindsight, we can know that some things were good, some things were less good, some things should not have been done. But what I can say is, when I compare 1948 you definitely see an understanding and more openness. I hope that's okay.
So we might need to have you for another Zoom session to talk about your master's.
Oh, I would be very happy. I can talk about that as much as I can talk about Greece. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
And we're happy to talk about both as long as you'd like.